Well, I'm so glad you can join me today for today's story. My name's Richard, and I'm going to read you the story called The Forgiving Prince, and it comes from the Jesus Storybook Bible. So, are you ready? Let's begin. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all his sons, Joseph was his favourite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich with all the colours of the rainbow. But it made Joseph's brothers jealous. They wanted rich rainbow robes too. Then, to make matters worse, Joseph kept on having dreams. I dreamt I was the greatest. I was king, Joseph told his brothers, and you all bowed down to me. Now, I'm sure you know, even if Joseph didn't, that telling your brothers things like that isn't a very good idea. Joseph's brothers hated him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and his dreams. And one day, that's exactly what they did, or what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's rainbow robe off him and sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took Joseph to Egypt and made him into a slave. The brothers went home and lied to their father, telling him that Joseph was dead. Well, that's the end of that dreamer, they thought. But they were wrong. God had a magnificent dream for Joseph's life, and even when it looked like everything had gone wrong, God would use it all to help make the dream come true. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though, things were not looking good for Joseph in Egypt. He was far from home and from his dad. Then he got blamed for something he didn't do, and even though he'd done nothing wrong, he was punished and thrown into jail. But God had not left Joseph. One night, Pharaoh, he's the king of Egypt, had a scary dream. Do you know what it is? He dreamt about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What on earth did that mean? He didn't know. But Joseph, he was a dream expert, so Pharaoh sent for him. It means, said Joseph, famine is coming, and there won't be enough food. Pharaoh was so pleased by Joseph's skill that he immediately took Joseph out of jail and made him a prince. Now, back home, Joseph's brothers had run out of food too, and everyone was hungry. God's special family was in danger. If they didn't get food soon, they would starve to death. So Joseph's brothers travelled to Egypt to buy food. They came and knelt before the new prince. His brothers didn't know that the prince was Joseph, but Joseph knew who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing down to him, it was coming true. "It's me!" Joseph cried. When they saw it was Joseph, his brothers were afraid. They'd wronged Joseph, they'd sinned, and they knew it. Now Joseph was certainly going to punish them. But Joseph looked at his brothers, and his eyes filled with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him and hated him and wanted him dead, in spite of everything, he just couldn't stop loving them. His heart, which they had broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph threw his arms around them. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Behind what you've been doing, underneath everything that has been happening, God was doing something good. God was making everything right again." Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them. He brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. One day, God would send another prince, a young prince, whose heart also would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and want him dead. He would be sold for pieces of silver. He would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. But God would use everything that happened to this young prince, even the bad things, to do something amazingly good, to forgive the sins of the whole world. That was Jesus. Well, that's my favourite story. What I really like about it is that despite all the bad things that happened to Joseph, that God never left him. He was always with him through those bad times. And God brought, even though they were difficult, he made good things happen despite those bad times. And we can know that for ourselves as well. If we're going through difficult times, if life is hard, God will always be with us. And underneath, God will always be bringing out something good, even out of those difficult times. Well, thank you for listening. It's been great to have this story time with you, and I hope you have a brilliant day. Bye.